Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, the #1 listener-supported radio station on the internet. Please help support this station so this battle can continue forward. Revolution Radio!
August 3rd, actually, and you're listening to Bobby Vicarious, and this is Urban Psychosis, which is an open roundtable, and just a little frazzled tonight because it seems like, I try to make sure I've got everything ready, and then something always goes wrong at the last minute, and it gets my adrenaline pumping, and I don't know, maybe that's a good thing, I don't know, it wakes me up, but, and then I start out really frazzled like this. Anyway, what did I say? Yes, and it's an open roundtable, Bobby Vicarious, and I, since we last week we had a good discussion on the holographic stickers, and that was a great discussion, I thought, and we even ran over into the next 2 hours, so we did a 4-hour roundtable, and I put the first 2 hours up on YouTube, on my Bobby Vicarious channel. And if you just get on YouTube and search for Bobby Vicarious, Bobby space Vicarious, you'll find it. And I have hour 1 and hour 2 up there. I didn't get 3 and 4 up there yet. Actually, not even sure I should, because I think 3 and 4 we were just into general roundtable. It's mainly hours 1 and 2 where we were discussing the holographic stickers. And I'm not opposed to putting all the roundtable hours up on YouTube. I'm just not sure anyone cares. I guess I'll see how many people actually check this out, because at the moment, it does require some work, because unless I find a better way of doing it, which maybe I will, I gotta talk to my son. He's more of an audiophile and knows a lot of things, but what I found is that the people, I'm loud and the people I'm talking to are soft. And then I'm going into my audio director that I use for recording music, and I'm raising up the people that are soft. And it's kind of a tedious process because I can't just highlight the whole thing, because then I'm going to raise myself too, and I'm going to go off into distortion. So I've kind of got to select the parts between me and raise them up. And I asked my son, there might be a better way to do this, some program I could just run over it. But anyway, I got the hang of it. I did it pretty fast, actually, once I got the hang of it. But, so that's what I'm saying about hours 3 and 4, I think I'm pretty much done. I could put them up, probably. But, I just didn't get to it. And, so that's where that is. So I don't want to spend too much time tonight. If there's somebody who wants to call in, and I pretty much want to get things rolling right away. If I don't have anybody to call in, I got some things to talk about. But I kind of figured, since last week, was, pretty much Bill Grant for at least, the first hour, I figured I should maybe just not do that this week. So if anybody wants to call in, come on in. Let's see, I guess if you're on Skype, you're in pretty good shape. If you have me as a contact, you can just call me. If you don't have me as a contact, you can search on Skype on Bobby space Vicarious, and I think I'm the only hit you'll find there, and just send me a contract request, and I'll accept it, and I can bring you in. or you can call on the phone, 1-804-591-0028. And so either way, now, as usual, I'm not sure, I know I'm recording, but I'm not sure that I'm actually getting out to the, I am getting out to the world because I'm recording. Well, let me just check this for a second. I hate to be annoying. Yeah, I think I'm recording. Okay, so I'm just going to push ahead then. I should bring up the chat here, though. Why didn't I remember to bring up the chat? Okay, I'll get that up after this then. Oh, God. Maybe I should bring up the chat to see if anybody's trying to tell me anything. I'm sorry that I'm so unorganized tonight. I really am. Like I said, I thought I had everything really organized, and at the last minute it just sort of fell apart. And does anyone hear me in the chat room? It would be nice if somebody said something. But if not, I'm just going to go on and assume it's working because, like I said, I think I'm recording, and I guess I would, the recording would stop if Zippy says yes, and I appreciate that, Mr. 8485. Do you smell gas, Mr. 8485-29756? I love that commercial. I don't know if you remember that commercial. It was back when the oil companies were, I guess, losing business to the gas companies, and they had this commercial, about how you can call the oil company and talk to somebody, because you're dealing with a local supplier. But, when you call the gas company, it's like, you're calling like the metropolis, and they're like, but do you smell gas? 847-965. That's all they want to know is, do you smell gas? If you don't smell gas, they don't want to talk to you. So anyway, all right, forget about that. Let me put the chat down here for a second. And, all right, I said I was going to just talk unless somebody calls me, but Stardust Man, you must be around. You're always around. I had an interesting thing happen to me. I had an encounter with a sex bot on Skype, and this is really bizarre because I'm just amazed that I was fooled for so long because I know what a bot is. Somehow it fooled me for a long time, and I'm thinking to myself, how freaking dumb am I? But there's a lot of circumstances, I guess. I don't really remember how tired I was or what the hell was going on, but yeah, I'm gonna tell you this dialogue, which is it's really pretty funny. Well, I thought it was really pretty funny. Let me get this over here for a second. Can I read this? Okay, I'm gonna read you the dialogue of sorts here. I might screw it up, but okay. So I get this thing, Jenny, blah blah blah, her last name, would like to add you on Skype, and this is it's like a quarter to midnight, and I didn't see, exactly that it was a day before. I thought it actually might have been somebody who wanted to give me contact information so they could, talk to me on Skype, bring them in to the round table. So, but this Jenny, I saw her picture, you get the little thumbnail of her picture, and she looked like a freaking Sports Illustrated swimsuit model. So I double clicked it to expand it, and she was really hot looking, just like a Sports Illustrated swimsuit model. So I was trying to say to myself, well, all right, maybe she's legit, maybe she, I'm not gonna be, judgmental as what she does for an occupation. Maybe she really wants to come into the chat room. So here's the dialogue. So I got the, high ancient alphabet. I'd like to add you as a contact. Then I got, and I said, Jenny, you look beautiful, but why do you want to be a contact? Just got home. You there? Yes. I got your name off the member search here on the Skype app, looking for new people to talk to. Jenny, I don't think I'm the right person for you to talk to. I'm 67. I thought you wanted to call into my roundtable on Revolution Radio. I'm on Wednesday midnight until 2 a.m. Want to share pics and text? No, Jenny. But if you want to check out Revolution Radio, I gave her the URL. Of course, babe. I love that. There are over 90 hosts with a lot of variety. You could check out something or other. Well, the hell I said, I forget what I said after that. Kind of a no thanks. But you're beautiful. My plumbing still works, but no thanks. Okay, that was hard to type. I'll explain. I really want to get into webcam modeling, but I'm so nervous to go online. Oh, and this is the other cool thing it was doing. It was like making like spelling mistakes and putting in spaces like to make it look like somebody was really typing it. Like webcam has got a space between the A and the M. And she did that a couple other places and did some typos. So I mean that was kind of cool. But I'm so nervous. I like haven't heard that before. Oh, I've never done this before. I'm so shy. Okay. So I said, well, I'm not sure what webcam modeling is. What is it? And she replies, I think if I just got started with one person watching, that would help. Don't you think so? I'm like, I don't think that's right for me. But I don't judge new people. Judge how people earn a living. Okay, if you're still there, you can log onto my web camera room. And she's giving me the URL. And I'm like, no, but if you want to join my roundtable, as long as you don't promote this, and I'm like, we have a chat room, blah, 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 all this crap. And then she says, I had it set up for 2 weeks, but I can't get the nerve to go public. Well, I said, well, if that's the truth, here's my psychology almost degree. I got the degree in computer science, but I was a psych major first. I only needed 7 more credits. So I said, well, if that's the truth, then maybe some party doesn't want to do this. What about looking at the Sports Illustrated swimsuit or Playboy Playmate? If that is really your picture, I have no idea what's really a picture. She could be a freaking troll. If that's really your picture, then you look better than some of the girls I've seen in those. And she says, it's still private, so you will have to register free to go into it. I'm like, no, Jenny, but you ever want to talk, check out the roundtable. You can use any name or moniker you like. I'm sort of thinking, hey, I'm going to give her a chance to talk. Maybe she wants to talk. I'm like, how stupid am I, right? And then here's the kicker. She says, my name is Jenny, and that's when it hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, I must have called her Jenny like 3 or 4 times. She's saying, my name is Jenny, and that's when so I typed, oh, this is a bot. I should have known that. And she says, what's a bot? I said, a computer program. If you fill in your credit card info, sexy, for age verification only, your card will not be charged. I'm ready for you now. I said, why would you say your name is Jenny when I've been calling you that all along? And then she says again, my name is Jenny. Now it's freaking dead obvious. I mean, it's a program. So I said, yes, you're a bot, all right. And she says, what's a bot? It's the same freaking thing she said before when I said bot. So it's like, it's a pretty clever program, but it's, it's not all that clever, I suppose it could be better. But I was just amazed at how long I was fooled by this damn thing. And I'm thinking, a lot of people probably are fooled by it. I just thought that was interesting, and that I should have known, I don't know why I didn't know. But anyway, so I didn't get to see her in the cam room and watch her play with her sex toys. I passed on that. Alright, so that's enough of Jenny. But I do like the name Jenny. Maybe that's something to do with too. Jennifer, I like that name. I used to work with this girl, Jennifer, really hot, Taiwan girl from Taiwan, tiny little girl, thin frame, kind of thing, and hair down halfway down her back, that dark black hair that's just like, so black, and when she used to walk down the aisle, man, I was like, I would just follow her, my eyes would follow her right down the aisle. college at like 18. So I kind of just gravitated to hang out with anybody that was older, which was Gary. He was older. He was just got divorced, and he was going back to school to see if he could learn something else and make enough money to pay for his alimony and his child support. But yeah, so we were friends. Met him in my digital electronics lab, which I was great at that because I had done a lot of that in the Air Force. So, whenever we had to do a project, I would wire this thing up in like no time. He was my lab partner. I get the thing, I get the thing done, and all my lights would be flashing away the way they're supposed to. And then me and Gary go out in the hall and smoke cigarettes while we waited for the rest of the class to get done. So, so that's pretty fun. See how I get off on tangents? But while I'm talking about Jennifer, me and Gary used to go out to lunch a lot. So we were out at like Subway, and they had like these tables, like these 2 people tables along the wall. And it would get crowded at lunch, and there'd be people, the line would be going right down there by those tables. And I'm sitting right on the end there, and, I said to Gary, I said, I hate this freaking table, got all these people sticking their ass in my face while I'm trying to eat. And he's like, oh, you wouldn't complain if it was Jennifer's house. Enough of Jennifer and Gary. That was good times. Anyway, does anybody want to call in? Come on, man. Let me check the chat room. Where is everybody? Where's Starman? He likes to talk. And Bill Brand, you could just come in and talk like a normal person. You don't have to say anything exciting this week. Or anybody else. I don't know why I can't recruit more people. Luckily, I do have some other things to talk about, but that's, kind of really thought I should be running a roundtable. And I'm trying to think about my roundtable stuff here. So Maggie has quit. That's a shame. I don't know. Maggie, I like her show. She should have came in when I was talking about my old friends and my Air Force stuff. Anyway, I don't know who's out there, but it's like I'm just going to continue on because I should be getting an alert if this thing stops recording. And I guess I'm just gonna go with that. I'm not gonna do the. I keep saying I'm not, but I keep worrying about it. And no, it's working according to what I see here. Alright, so let's push on to something else. I wrote a program that it checks the byte count of the file I'm recording every 10 seconds. 10 seconds? Yeah. And then it gives me an alert, so I can, tell that something happened. Either I dropped on Skype or whatever. And, Bill Grant is calling. Hello, everybody. I'm sorry about that. I screwed up again. I took Bill in, and I guess I did him wrong. And Mr. Rowe came to my rescue, at least to tell me. And I didn't, but I saw it. And but I guess I'll try that next time. There was a merge option, but I didn't do that. I think so. I think I need Bill if he wants to come in. I think I need him to come in again. But I think let me check my byte counts here. I think I'm back on the air here. Yeah, all right. I probably need this thing to pop up when it happens because it's under my text and I didn't see it. So I appreciate that, Mr. Rowe, that you're there. I don't know how long you're going to be around, but I'm real nervous about screwing up the server again like I did last week. And I talked to Painter, and he told me exactly what I have to do. And, I'm going to do it. I'm just a little nervous that I'm going to screw it up again. And I don't know how long you're going to be around, but I hope I don't screw it up. We have Bill Grant. Oh, there it is. There, to group. Jesus. I wish that was bigger. Okay. All right. Bill Grant. Hello, Bill. Oh, there you are. Bill.
Here I am. When was I ever speaking on air myself?
I don't think so, Bill, because was, and that's a shame. That was good stuff. I recorded, but that's no help at the moment.
Damn.
And
I really didn't have time for this either, but it was kind of good, and I almost summed it up and got back to my point, which was pretty important because it's really what happens to all life forms at some point or another.
Hey, Phil? Well, maybe we want to try to coordinate that for another night when you have time, because I put this on my list. I wanted to talk about AI tonight, and I started doing some research today on it. And I mean, there was a lot to it. I didn't realize there was so much freaking stuff when I did a search, and so I kind of was reading up on it, just not to get too deep, but I was, just reading up on all the different things that exist, and on hardware. There's some new hardware coming out, which I'm always interested in hardware. Like hardware as in they're putting out special processors that are made for neural networks and stuff like this. They're like geared toward that. So that Intel and all the people, the usual players, they're all jumping on the bandwagon to start putting out these chips now. To make it, because in the past people are programming neural networks just with general purpose CPUs. Now they're going to put out these things that are geared to it, and they're going to be a lot faster, and they'll be easier to program, and people will start writing code for them. So things are going to move along. But the reason I wanted to get into that area is because I hear a lot of people talking about it, and the fact is that I think people are more worried than they need to be at the moment, because I think that the reality of this stuff is further down the road. But if you take into consideration that the black projects are 30 years ahead, I'm sure this is well.
30.
Right?
No. Put it this way: whatever area you can think of, it doesn't matter what area. They're absolutely the bare strip, bone stripping, bare minimal is 10 years ahead. It doesn't, like in any area, but they understood free energy over 150 years ago. Okay, and many things at least 100 years ago, many other things 50 years ago, and other things 30 years ago, and so on. So they know where it's all going. They know they're going to put it all together in one big shot. They know they have a bunch of programs all separated here, separated there, but they already plan on merging them. And the ones who know where all of the dumb bases are and all of the project bases are and what the projects are, and they have each area, each of those scientists are told, 10 more years for that, 10 more years for this. They don't really know about each other, but people that know everything know they can merge those any day they feel like it. Today,
Yes,
they don't want to merge it. Yeah.
I'm sorry. The thing of it is it probably varies as to what. Not everything is at the same level of head in the black projects world, but I know for a fact I was in the Air Force for 4 years, and I worked on electronic equipment. I was a repairman. And I know that the stuff I worked on was, I would say it was 30 years ahead, easy. It was really sophisticated stuff. And obviously it was top secret stuff, but I'm just saying I know for a fact, that was a good 30 years ahead of anything else after that.
Yeah, when was that?
Well, I was I got out in 72. So I was like 68 to 72. Vietnam,
right.
It was the end of the Vietnam War. Yeah.
No, what people keep being diverted from is the concept of superconducting wiring, and that we could have had it many years ago. There's ways to pulse it and hook up wiring so that it creates cold currents, and there's some listeners here that would have heard about it.
Yes, did you pause for Bruce?
Yeah.
All right, well, yeah, Bruce is, hi, Bruce.
Bobby, Bill.
Yeah.
I think we should throw down a rule. Thank you. I think we should throw down a rule right now that you can't call in unless your first name begins with B.
show, yeah.
Right, yeah. Bartholomew, haven't heard that in a while. Bart.
Yes.
Bart's.
Sorry. Go ahead there, Bruce.
No, I'm just up a bit late trying to fix this little script I get to work for my work. And heard you guys on, and I thought I'd just call in and say hello. I'm not usually on the phone.
Oh, you making money? What money making?
Well, at work.
Script.
Job. Yeah, I'm scripting. Scripting's no big deal, though. No big deal.
Yeah. Scripture also. So you're a preacher? Oh, no, good.
No.
All right, I get it.
I'm just talking about a little Linux shell script to do a bunch of things, to automate a bunch of stuff that's being done manually now.
Oh, the born shell, or the born again shell. That's the religious one.
Correcto. Exactly.
But with all computers and this whole concept of AI or super fast computers, what is usually diverted is the concept that the chips, any wiring, does not have to be hot. First of all, there's easy ways to prevent it from being as hot as it is, and then second of all, there's ways to prevent it to cause it to be actually cool or even cold. And then we have natural room temperature superconductors, not just supercooled superconductors. So those are things they keep from us. And the closest thing we have to that right now, the closest hope they're giving us, is the carbon fibers, which is real and which will be the answer to the universe. Literally, it is a universal discovery kind of technology. It's a universal give all technology. But go ahead.
What is a carbon fiber?
Well, a carbon fiber is there's a whole bunch of varieties, but it's like it's nanotubes, nanotechnology. You have the buckyballs and the nanotubes, which could be graphite tubes, graphite sheets, and etc. And the more pure they are, the more perfect you make them, and the longer you make them. More buckyballs, first of all, are the most important because they are the only known large size molecular grouping, not just an atom size, but a molecule, a group of atoms that act in a quantum entanglement behavior. They're quantum entangleable, whole entire atom. So when you get them together properly, those as the whole the entire object can act in like a whole wire, can act like an entirely entangled object. So quantum entangled, instantaneous communication, or at least much faster than the speed of light. So much faster that it appears to be instantaneous. So, but see, why is this important in particular? It means this is giving us clues as to how to make entire large size objects quantum entangleable and super cold. They do not produce heat. They do not use up electricity or turn electrical impulses into heat unless you go beyond a certain voltage threshold. So the point is, it's virtually zero amount of electricity to run them, and they don't heat up your house like in a heat wave. So, but before I continue, go ahead.
You get that, Bob?
Oh yeah, I got it. And I've got I know what he's talking about. I'm upstairs, and it's hard to get the air conditioning upstairs. I've done a few tricks that have actually helped. They sell these magnetic sheets at like Lowe's and Home Depot. I forget which one I got it at, but you like cut them the size you want, and then you stick them on your heat vents, the air vents. Because what happens is when I close most of the air vents downstairs to try to force the air upstairs. And the problem is when you close the vents, they don't really close completely. Air still is coming out of them. So I cut these things and I stick them on the vents, and these close them up much better. So I've got like only one vent open downstairs in the living room, and it's still colder downstairs than it is upstairs. But in my office up here, I got the side off of my PC because it was overheating, and basically it throws a lot of freaking heat. My processor alone is like I think 145 watts. So that's quite a bit of heat. So yeah, whatever Bill's talking about, if they incorporated that technology into the processors, they could really reduce the amount of power used. Of course, they really made some breakthroughs with the mobile stuff, that they're putting in phones and stuff like that. I mean, they've got these processors down to much less power, but they're not the kind of processor I've got here. I've got like an 8-way, core processor. So
yeah, instead of a quad or a dual, they went from dual to quad, now 8. So that's pretty good. But see, the issue is geometry, and how does geometry and proper spacing relate to this super quality of superconductivity and entanglement. They are two separate different things, usually associated. But in any case, why is this kind of like free energy? It's not just low amounts of energy, it's virtually zero to power anything. And it was believed that that state couldn't exist, and then they found out that it did, and they thought, well, there's got to be some friction, there's got to be some loss, and there wasn't. And they figured there's no way that. Then they said, well, it can't exist at room temperature. It obviously can't. It's literally impossible to ever exist. Superconductive states couldn't exist in room temperature or even remotely close to room temperature conditions. And then they found that it could. So in other words, it takes a lot of energy to supercool something, to supercool a superfluid, then pump it, and then wrap it around exchange units and cool your wires down, etc. It takes a lot of energy to cause those other wires to use virtually no energy. And they figured out that if you run a motor, an electrical motor in superconductive mode, it takes like virtually zero energy to run you could run a 1-ton motor, turning a car you can make it go 400 miles per hour. And then they'll say, well, okay, it's free energy while it's super cold, but then it'll slowly be building up heat, and it will lose its superconductive ability, and it took so much energy to cool it down. Well, that all ends up being bullshit when they found out that, it's free energy until it isn't, and then they say it costs too much to make it super cold, so it uses more energy than it produced. But while it was cold, it was a massive, super free energy machine. Now, here's the problem. Then they found out there was room temperature superconductors. And then I came along, being 13, 14 years old, whatever, and then I found out, hey, space is pretty damn cold. It doesn't take any energy to cool an already super cold object in empty vacuum of space. It's already super cold. Everything in space, everywhere, is super cold. The only place it's hot is the sun. And, the majority of the entire universe, as in 99.9999999% of it, is below the temperature of liquid nitrogen. And actually continue, because there's so much more I can say. Go ahead.
Well, now I got a question there, Bill, because it's like, I understand what you're saying, but when you say space, are you talking like, outer space, or are you talking, because you're not talking like ether kind of, you're talking ether kind of space?
Yeah, outer space, like.
Outer space, yeah, because the outer space
orbit
is definitely freaking cold. Yeah, but you're saying that you could build those things and run them at room temperature here. How is that? I understand how you do it in outer space.
Because years ago we discovered, a list of 12 and then up to 26 different types of elements we could turn into natural room temperature superconductors. We couldn't easily make them into wire, but we had what's called the powder method. We just make it into powder and put it into like a tube, like a plastic tube or whatever. And we shape it any way we want. You couldn't go over a certain voltage, but it would be superconducting. So if you turn that into a wire, you can make it run any way you want. And then they eventually figured out how to unify everything, and then they did secret stuff in the vacuum and zero gravity of space as well. But that's another story. But what it comes down to is now we know for certain, and admittedly and openly so, that carbon nanofibers, nanotubes, and buckyballs are naturally room temperature superconductors. They can be black, they can be see-through, and if you charge them right, they can be any color because they can emit light. So, they don't want you to know. Us 70s people used to know the secrets of superconductivity, and now that everyone forgot about it and are so confused in so many other ways, now that we're sufficiently away from that, besides me just bringing it up, now they thought they were just going to make it seem like someday we're going to have really good computers that, don't use a lot of power, but in reality, it uses so little power that the tiniest amount of light or heat taken out of the environment, the natural latent environment, the tiniest amount of energy from the wind, a gust of wind, a little breeze, a little static electricity, or the light from your ceiling powering a tiny little solar panel is enough to power your entire car or your computer or an airplane. So, is it free energy whether or not it creates an electrical motor free energy? It's irrelevant. The amount of power it takes to power anything from there on will be so low, it'll be below the free energy, latent background, ambient energy threshold, meaning everything from there on is free energy, even if it's not coming out of anywhere, from a magical mystery place. The tiniest bit of sunlight, the tiniest bit of heat. We have thermolytic converters. If the object, the material, simply gets hot or warm, it converts it to electricity.